Okay, so I've got my interior view there where I can see these walls that I want to change, and I want them to be different colours. So I want basically a feature wall that's going to be one colour, and then I want the other walls to stay the colour they are. And maybe to make it a little bit clearer, I'll draw a new wall for my feature wall. So I'm going to draw a new wall, and notice at the moment it is stud timber 90. So that's the wall type, that's the kind of wall it is. And I'm just going to draw that next to my stairs here, something like that. Maybe I can bring that down a bit and then bring this other end up. So we've got like a dividing wall there, and actually maybe I'll even bring that over to give me some space next to the stairs. Okay, and so I should see that wall in perspective when I can. Okay, so I want that wall to be a different colour to my other interior walls. So I'm going to select it, and you can see at the moment again it's still stud timber 90. I'm going to go to edit type, and then duplicate. So it's going to be still stud timber 90, but I want it to be a different colour, red, so I'm going to put that in the name. So stud timber 90 red is my new kind of wall. Let's click OK. And then I'm going to click edit next to the structure, and you can see it's set to use this timber material, which is actually a white painted timber. So I'm going to click browse there to change that material, and I can't just change this timber material because that will change all of those other walls that are already using this material. So I'm going to right click on that material just like we did before, duplicate, and then I'll change that to timber painted, well actually sorry, no, I'll call it something else. Plasterboard red. Don't even need to put painted, just plasterboard red will do. And then I'm going to repeat the same steps as before. I'm going to click on the Appearance tab, right click on Appearance and go to Replace. Click on the arrow next to Appearance to bring up the folders, and then go to Wall Paint, where I know there are some red materials. So I'll just find the one I want, light red will do. I'll just double click on it, close this asset browser, get it out of the way. So I've got my appearance colour and everything there set. Back to the graphics tab, and I'm just going to tick use render appearance to bring that colour across, and I'll leave that as it is. I don't want to change that, so I'm happy to leave that. And so that you can see over here is showing red for the swatch. So I'll click OK, 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 and now I've got a wall that's set to be red. And if I want any of my other stud timber walls to be red, I can simply choose them now, and from the list here choose the red one instead of the original, and that will change them. So that's why it's set up that way, because you'll often reuse these objects many times, and once all of that setup work's done, it's simple then to just choose from the type selector there the one you want. Okay, so I'm going to set that up now for my floor, because the floor I did earlier with the paint, and that means it's done just on the surface of that floor. So I'm going to go to the 3D view so I can see the building from the outside. I'm going to select that floor, and then I'm going to go to again edit type. This time I want to have a more realistic floor, so I'm going to change it to concrete domestic. 425mm will do, and then I'll click the edit button there, and you'll see we have all of these layers which are already set to different materials. That's okay, I'll just hit a preview there and you can see all those different things. If you don't need them, you don't have to use them. So The site hardcore, I don't really want that, and so I'm going to delete it. The insulation, don't really need to see that, I'll delete it too. And the vapor barrier, I'll delete that too. So I'm just left with the two main components. We've got this concrete sand, and that originally would have been the top of the floor, and then we've got the other concrete material. So I'm going to make mine concrete with timber on top. So I'm going to leave this one as it is, the concrete, and then the one above that is concrete at the moment, I'm going to change the thickness to just 20mm for floorboards, and then I'll hit the browse button there to change to a timber material, and I've already made my wood floorboards material earlier, so I can choose it and reuse it. Okay, and there we can see it's got the timber on top. Okay again, and so now if we look at this in maybe a section view, it would be good. I can't really see that, but that's because of the view display. In the view control bar, you'll see these options: coarse, medium and fine, and when you go to fine, then you will see all of the layers, fine or medium. So that's just so you can see them. Now notice the flooring goes under the wall, which isn't very good, so I'm going to select that, edit type, edit structure, and I'll move that floorboards layer just by selecting anywhere in that layer, or even clicking on the number at the end. I'll move that up to the top. Then OK. So that's now a fit. Also, I'll go back to that. So that's outside of the core boundary, but I've got to look at the function that's on structure. I'm going to change that to finish 1. Or finish 2, doesn't really matter. Actually finish 2, sorry, I'll do because it's interior. So, well, they're just really to give you different options, but generally finish 1's for exterior and finish 2's for interior. So most of the time you can probably use finish 2. And so then, you'll see it's still going under the wall, but now if I attach, I'm going to select that wall, and then remember using attach top base to attach the wall to the roof. I can now, when I choose that set the base option, choose my floor, and now it knows to take the wall through that finish down to the concrete.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, oh sure. So I'll do that on the other side too. Okay, so I'll stretch this over and you'll see the same thing. So if I select this wall, attach top base, and then choose the floor, that's fine if we get an option like this. Unjoin elements is okay. So I'll just try that again. Oh yeah, sorry, I didn't change it, that was my fault. Okay, so attach top base, and you need to choose base instead of top, and then choose the floor, and there we go, that'll take it down. Okay, so that's why sometimes setting things in properties is a little bit more involved, because you have to set up the layers, or think about the way the layers work. And now coming back to those walls, you can see in the course display, which is what we've got there, they show this colour, which is grey. If I go to fine, like I did for the section, and I'll set that to just have a lighter line weight with the scale, we'll go to 1 to 50. Well, actually, so it's light enough. We can see all the components there. You can't see the colour, but if I go to shaded, notice how now that red colour is coming in through the wall. So if you don't want that to happen, you need to set up layers in your wall, just like you did like I did for the floor. But another option is to leave it on coarse, and that's just the final thing I wanted to show you. With coarse, you can see again it's using this colour. So I'll set it back to hidden line, and you can see again it's still got this colour. So where does that come into it? I'm going to select just one of the walls, doesn't matter which one. Edit type. Okay, so I've been going into structure to change the material. But there's an easy thing to miss. Everyone misses this at first, but it's actually one of the more basic options. The coarse scale fill pattern and the coarse scale fill colour. So that lets you set a simple colour for that coarse display. So in other words, it's just going to have the one colour instead of all those different layers that you set in the other properties. So have a look at that as well. Yeah, oh yeah, sure. I know it is a bit yeah, okay. So I'll change it to something different.
Coarse means when you just see it on that look, on that.
That's right. So when you have that option there, so coarse, medium and fine, if you go to fine, then it's using the more involved structure when you go to edit type, and then go to edit here, and you change the material that way. And that's what everyone wants to do, because you want to get this list of materials and set up the appearance and all those things you use for rendering. But it's important to realise that, again, at first, you maybe won't be using that for your plan views and your sections and your elevations, because you're more likely to have, instead of having it set to fine, you'll have that set to coarse, where for those objects, when you go to edit type, it's just on the first panel here that you have this coarse scale fill colour. Okay, and so I know with your projects, you'll often need to have the walls shown just with black. And so it's a simple thing. Go into the wall type, here where it's got the coarse scale fill colour, click on the colour swatch, set it to black. That easy. Okay, and so now that wall's black, but remember it's the red one. That's its name, so it's a different kind of wall. These walls, they're all still just plain stud timber 90. So if I go again, edit type, change the coarse scale fill colour to black. Okay, now all of those walls, that type will change. My exterior walls, they're generic 200mm. So again, edit type, change the coarse scale fill colour for them to black, and they'll all change. So it doesn't take long to get that that graphic appearance you need for your plans, and that'll apply with the other views as well. So my section now, I could have it showing that detailed section through the building, but again, often for interiors projects you don't need that level of detail, so you can leave it set to coarse, and as long as you know how to set that coarse display, it works for floors as well. So if I select a floor, edit type, and then you can see it's got the coarse scale fill colour set to black, but the pattern isn't set. So I've just got to set that to solid, and that's what the wall already had. Now it's black as well. This floor, all I need to do now to make it look like the lower floor is set it to the same kind of floor. So it's concrete domestic 425. So now I can choose this other floor and choose that same kind of floor. And so not only is it going to have this black colour in section, but it's also going to have, if you remember, exactly. So that same material set up on top. Again, I know it can seem like a lot of setup when you're looking at a little project like this, but when you've got a larger project, even the apartments you've been working on, and definitely with that beach house where you've got several stories, it really makes things a lot easier when you have all those different options.
So if you want a different floor, let's say in the beach house, in the first floor, you change just the top, or you change the whole?
Oh yeah, well there's one more thing to break it up, which we'll look into later. So if you want to have, say, a bathroom that has tiles, there's a way of just separating part of that floor to make that part have a different finish, which is yet another option. But we'll get into that later. It's a bit more involved. So anyhow, there's just those two main aspects. So it's really just thinking about the properties that you have with an object like this. So when you go to edit type, you've got the structure. When you click edit, where you have the different layers that can all have the different materials. And so as long as you're comfortable making and managing materials, then you can set any material you like there. But then don't forget about your course display, which for plans and sections is often all you'll need. So there's really just the colour and the pattern. Yeah, at first it's grey, yeah, that's right. But then for yours, I think black's better, and that's one of the first things you might want to set up with, things like the beach house will definitely do that. So, I'll leave that one there for now, but I'll just switch back to the view that we had earlier, and so you'll see that it's got materials set there that I might want to use, but we've got to then get the lighting. So I'll do that in the next video. I'll put a ceiling in and get some better lighting than what we had before.